Hey there, my name's Justin Sky The Antibacterial Guy. Did you know that bacteria is everywhere? Some bacteria attack your cells, some bacteria produce toxins, and some you just can't live without. But when the wrong ones get inside you, they can make you sick, sometimes sick enough to kill you. However, we take the bacteria that can cause disease for granted nowadays. Back in 14th century Europe, 56 million people died of a disease called the Black Plague. Back then, they thought it was from poisonous gases coming from the earth. It was also even believed that people got sick if they sinned, because people had no idea that bacteria was something to be aware of.
She must have sinned.
The mortality rate from infectious diseases like pneumonia, cholera, and typhoid fever has decreased tremendously since the olden days because people have become more aware of germs, how they cause disease, and how they spread. In 1928, penicillin was discovered, which was the first antibiotic. Now we have antibiotics that kill bacteria. They're like a superhero defeating the evil villain. In 1960, we had the golden age of antibiotic discovery, where we developed all kinds of new antibiotics. An antibiotic is a selective poison. It kills certain bacteria without harming your cells in your body. Different types of antibiotics affect different bacteria in different ways.
Hey guys, here's a fun way to think about the effects of antibiotics on bacteria. So this bowl represents a petri dish. The water represents the agar. So we're going to pour that in. This pepper is going to represent the bacteria that's going to be fully spread all over the plate, all over the agar plate.
It's going to take a second. So we're going to fully spread the bacteria on the agar.
And now the dish soap is going to represent the antibiotic. When the antibiotic comes into contact with the bacteria, we see a zone of inhibition forms. The clear region is an indicator of the absence of microbial growth by the antimicrobial agent. This means that the antibiotic would be effective and a good choice against the infection caused by bacteria.
Everything seemed to be going well until bacteria started to build up a resistance to our antibiotic drugs. These are the same drugs that we used to kill them.
Dun dun dun! Sorry.
Anyways, when you take antibiotics, the bacteria in your body will either die or survive because their genes carry a mutation that makes them resistant to the drug, which is how bacteria evolved resistance to antibiotics in the first place. Bacteria die or mutate, and they're mutating much faster than we can come up with the drugs, which is the problem. Resistance is inevitable because these bacteria replicate and mutate so fast, the problem of resistance is impossible to eliminate.
So remember that awesome experiment I showed to represent how antibiotics work? Now look at what happens when that same bacteria from before mutated and has become resistant to the antibiotic. When the antibiotic comes into contact with the bacteria, no zone of inhibition forms. This shows that these antibiotics are no longer effective, and as more antibiotics become resistant, diseases become more difficult to treat.
From Hollywood, it's Jimmy Kimmel Live!
Welcome everyone to the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Tonight we have an extraordinary guest who has starred in many roles such as amoxicillin, neomycin, and deoxycycline, and the bacteria-fighting good guy. Welcome to the show, Antibiotics. You're our true star and have been quite a lifesaver. However, I have heard lately you have been running into some trouble.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy. And yes, but that really isn't my fault. I've been taken advantage of and not taken seriously by so many people.
Have you been overused?
Yes, Jimmy, and also I work so hard to help out that so many people think I have done my job and don't give me the chance to finish my job by throwing me away before they are supposed to, that I don't get the chance to kill everything in sight. So the bad germs that survive come back even stronger, which is making me look so bad.
It's so unfortunate. I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with this. Oh my god. Hey, my throat is actually a bit sore. Do you mind if I just take a little bit of a bite of you?
Actually, you probably just have a virus. It would be very bad miscasting to use me. I have no use for that.
You're right. Well, thank you for joining us on the show this evening. And good luck in future roles. I hope developments are made for you to be able to continue what you're doing in the future. Well, on a better note, here's Kylie Jenner and her baby on the next show.
This is important to acknowledge. Antibiotics are being misused and overused, which is contributing to them becoming resistant faster. Antibiotics can only cure bacterial infections, not viral infections. Pressuring your doctor to prescribe antibiotics when they're not needed is not helping anybody.
Help! Help! My baby won't stop crying. Give him something to make him stop.
But I don't think it's a bacterial infection. Like,
Why?
I don't. It could. We need to run
Make
some
it
tests.
stop!
We need to run some tests before we do anything.
Go make it stop.
Okay, fine. I'll prescribe some antibiotics.
We can't continue to rely on the antibiotic drugs we have now. To help, we have to reduce our use of antibiotics by making sure that you have a bacterial infection and not a viral infection before taking antibiotics. If you do have a bacterial infection, start with the older, more common antibiotics to try to kill the bacteria before utilizing the new extra powerful developments to save those for the future when the bacteria become 100% resistant to the older antibiotics. When you take antibiotics, make sure to follow the instructions and take the full dosage, even if you start to feel better, to make sure no bacteria is left behind to come back and make you even more sick. Simple things can be done, like washing your hands with regular soap and not antibacterial soap, because regular soap is just as effective as washing the bad bacteria down the drain without utilizing unnecessary antibiotics.
New developments need to be made in this field of antibiotics because of how fast they are becoming resistant. However, drug developing companies don't want to spend their time and money developing new antibiotics because it is very expensive to bring new antibiotics to the market. Because people are only supposed to use antibiotics very briefly, the companies are not getting the return on investment bringing the new antibiotic to market, so they won't be making any money. This is definitely a problem, but there are some scientists making efforts to identify ways to protect people from bacterial infections.
Scientists are looking into germs that fight germs. Bacteriocin is a protein produced by bacteria of one strain and active against those of a closely related strain. These bacteriocins have been suggested as potential alternatives to antibiotics in the future. Bacteriocin is a toxin that is made by a bacterium, and they kill other bacteria very specifically. Bacteriocins only kill their close relatives, unlike antibiotics. By designing bacteriocins, they can kill each of the pathogenic bacteria. Then we can utilize them at low levels and avoid antibiotics that become resistant.
Scientists are also making efforts to utilize you. They recently launched a crowdfunding campaign to send out simple test kits so people can check plants, chemicals, and other substances around them for substances that can kill bacteria. The kit would include test bacteria that don't cause disease, so it's something safe for do-it-yourselfers to experiment with. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. See you later, bacterial buddies. From Justin Sky, the Antibacterial Guy.